Hey, you're listening to Speaking with Judgment, hosted by Jonathan Mathis, the sports judge. Hello there. It's Sunday, March 16th. Welcome to the channel. There's been some stuff going on with the San Francisco 49ers this offseason. There's always a team right around now that starts to move off aging, high-priced players. The roster turnover is inevitable and bound to happen. I'm looking and watching what the 49ers are doing this offseason. I'm sorry, but I'm looking at the 49ers gut this roster. I'm looking at a team that's going to be completely different next season. I'm looking at a team right now that it appears is not a threat in the NFC. I'm not really sold on the 49ers being a title contender. I just don't think they're capable of making another run and getting back to the Super Bowl. And by the way, we're talking about a new look 49ers team after what they've lost. What do we expect them to do when Brock Purdy lost a lot of his weapons in this year's free agency? Where am I with the 49ers? As it stands right now, the 49ers have a bottom 5 defensive line, one of the weakest linebacker rooms in the NFL, massive questions at running back, and a need for help in the secondary. They need a ton of help in the secondary. Look at all they've lost in free agency. They've lost offensive linemen, Drew Greenlaw, Talanoa Hufanga, Charvarius Ward, Javon Hargrove, Deebo Samuel, and Malik Collins. Add in the fact they already are projected to have more than $85 million in dead money on a $279.2 million cap this coming season, largely because they've traded or dumped pricey players. From a business perspective, I guess in a sense, I can understand why the 49ers are releasing people, moving pieces around. Anytime a team is getting a roster makeover, or anytime a team is gutting its roster the way the Niners have, is the point is to create more financial breathing room for future seasons when Brock Purdy's hefty cap charge will join the huge hits already on the books for other core players: linebacker Fred Warner, pass rusher Nick Bosa, left tackle Trent Williams, running back Christian McCaffrey, and tight end George Kittle, who is likely to sign an extension this offseason. The worst part of having a championship caliber team is that no matter what you do, you can't keep everyone. And the reality with the 49ers is this: the window is closing. The roster got old and more expensive, and because of that, it's hard to pay everybody. It's just impossible. The cold reality finally set in, and so now you're not bringing back many of your players from a team that finished 6-11, 2 games behind the Arizona Cardinals for last place in the NFC West. I see what's behind it from a business standpoint. You start throwing darts at the wall to see what happens. I don't think the fans feel the same way, obviously. Of course not. It was a spoiled fan base. The folks in the Bay got used to seeing a winning team. In the Kyle Shanahan era, the Niners have been to the Super Bowl twice. Come up empty, but they've still appeared in the marquee event twice. You're probably not going to be all that good next season. I don't think their offseason moves, in their eyes, puts an end to their era of dominance, if that's what you want to call it. For me, it does, but I ain't running the team. For them, they think with the core players they have, and by getting younger, that they can shock a lot of people and contend. I don't see a world in which they do contend next season. You'll be lucky to be a 500 team. You let go of all the vets and don't sign any top free agents, now you're basically going into next season with what you have. That's what they're doing. And even if they saw it our way and just wanted to get younger and faster and not injured, they would gut the roster. I don't think that means it's a disaster waiting to happen or complacency or a failure. I think that's actually an eye on the big picture. We have to understand it's about economics. You have to understand where they are in the NFL ecosystem. They're probably not going to win anything significant next season. So let's dump some guys, get younger, get faster, and bigger, prioritize our quarterback. But all of these offseason moves and the lack of progress on a Purdy deal points to one thing. Before they commit to him and give him a boatload of cash, they want to make sure Brock Purdy wasn't just the product of the team around him. Tear it down, wait another year, see how he plays on the last year of his deal, and then you franchise or extend him. Tearing it down isn't a good thing, but it's not necessarily a bad thing either. I think this situation for sure is to definitely cut the fat from the roster and bargain Ben Hunt to strengthen the team. And I honestly think, and I've been thinking about this a lot pertaining to the San Francisco 49ers, they're showing an unwillingness to pay big contracts, excluding Purdy's upcoming deal. They've built up this team to where it was in contention, but now I just don't see it after you just offloaded salary. It sounds to me like they're cleaning house to make Purdy the centerpiece of the team. This is a man who is probably going to make $50 million a year. So to me, this is about taking care of your quarterback who you're banking on to be that guy in the foreseeable future. What we do know about Brock Purdy, what do we know about Brock Purdy? He is cool. He's poised in the pocket and can run that Shanahan offense. He's never uptight or the moment is never too big for him. One of the things I like about him too is that he doesn't overcomplicate things for himself. Just keeps it simple. An elite strength that he has is anticipation over the middle of the field. And at some point, you're going to have big decisions to make. And Purdy is a big decision. And so, according to reports coming out of the Bay Area, the 49ers are retooling or rearranging both their offensive schematic structure and their overall roster built to make Purdy a priority. They want him around for the long term. And by cleaning up some of the contracts, they can pay him $45 to $55 million, secure the quarterback position, and put pieces around him. That's what the 49ers want, to be able to create another core through the draft and give Purdy the weapons needed to compete. If everything goes right, you can win 9 or 10 games with him as your quarterback. I'm talking like he's an elite quarterback, and last season was rough for him. We watched him struggle last season. He struggled. Before I pay him, I want to see if he's got more to give. I think they're in on Purdy, pretty much putting last year's struggles behind them as they are confident he's that guy who can carry this team when asked to. We've seen that. We've seen the best of Brock Purdy. I think that you have your selective few like, wait a minute, He didn't look like the same quarterback last season without all his weapons, limited talent around him. 2023 was the best version of Brock Purdy, where he was tops in pretty much all the passing categories, the MVP candidate. That's the Brock Purdy they believe in. That's the Brock Purdy we can have when we're healthy with the right pieces around him. I understand this whole thing because the 49ers believe they have something in Brock Purdy. Despite him having a down year or a year in which he didn't play up to his standards, Brock Purdy, with the right pieces around him, can be a really, really good quarterback. Seriously, I believe that. They've kept enough pieces around him. Christian McCaffrey, he's healthy. They still have George Kittle. They still have Brandon Ayuk. They kept enough around him where they can go out and do what they have done well. Let's go out there, find some players because they got some cap money now. It would really depend on how much faith you have in Brock Purdy. And all things considered, the Niners obviously feel really good about him being their quarterback. I think they believe they can still make a run and have another 5 or 6 years with him, another 5 or 6 year run. This is, to me, this just says they're ready to lock in. This is our guy. Let's move forward. I don't know that dismantling a team is the way to go about it because you got to pay your top guy. They were loaded. That was a very, very good roster until they gutted it. If I'm them, I'm thinking, how can we expect to win anything? Their offseason moves, for what it is, for what we know, could be the beginning of the end and this window and this run they had. They had a really good team, but again, no team stays together forever. Eventually, championship teams break up, and that's what you're seeing here. They had a team, and if it wasn't for some bad coaching, the injuries, and the personal issues that several players had going on, they might have won one. Remember, they were projected in many people's eyes, including myself, to win their division and potentially, in some people's eyes, even get back to the Super Bowl. In 2 of the Super Bowls, you might remember, they choked 2 fourth-quarter leads, up 10 with the Chiefs. The worst thing happening right now for the San Francisco 49ers is the offseason moves that have forced folks into a knee-jerk reaction, seeing the mass exodus of free agents. Understandable. The Niners have now lost 11 starters and 10 backups from their Super Bowl team of 2 years ago. It's an indictment of how they're operating like a complacent, bad, dysfunctional franchise. And it's incredibly hard to accept that a 6-11 team failed miserably. It wasn't working, so since it didn't go the way they would have hoped it had gone, what do? You shift strategy more towards the draft, youth, inexpensive, versus shelling out cash and not getting return on investment. What they're doing is hitting the reset button, and they're hitting it hard, and they're doing it around Brock Purdy. It sounds like a rebuild, but I wouldn't call it that. We know that next season, this team isn't going anywhere, but years from now, maybe there'll be a team to worry about again. I think the 49ers are banking on Brock Purdy, and they're letting it be known that that's their guy going forward. All right, guys. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. I'm getting out of here now. I talked long enough about the 49ers. Now I'm grabbing on my Cheetos. Flaming Hot Cheetos. These things are so addicting. I love these, man. I could just sit here and eat the whole damn bag of Cheetos, man. But let me get out of here because I'm about to get a red tongue. I'm about to get some Cheeto fingers. Of course, look, I already got it on my fingers already. But, man, I'm getting on out of here. You guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Ooh, hot, spicy. Have a great rest of your day. And don't forget, if you guys haven't already, hit the subscribe button for me. Smash the subscribe button. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for locking in with your boy. Really appreciate the love and support. Without you guys, none of this is possible. You guys can follow me on TikTok, the Sports Judge. You guys can follow me over there. You guys can follow me on Instagram, Sports Judge 85. Follow me on Twitter, Sports Judge 85. Follow me on Facebook. I got my Facebook page. It's up and rolling. It's active. Check me out over there. Look up the Sports Judge. I should pop up. But guys, I'm getting out of here now. Talk to you guys again very soon. Take care.